North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to North Idaho College Today, the program that brings you the inside story on the people, the programs, and the events that make education here at North Idaho College happen. Today we have some very special guests with us. First of all, we have Karen Ruppel, who is a faculty member. She's also our accreditation liaison officer. And we're going to talk about accreditation in just a little bit. But we also have today Kassie Silvas. And Kassie is our Director of Aerospace and Outreach. And as usual, we have Mark Browning with us today, who is our Vice President for Community and Governmental Affairs and Marketing. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Before we get started, I would first of all like to publicly congratulate Pat Whitcomb and the NIC wrestling team, who just came back and won the 2013 National Wrestling Championship in Des Moines, Iowa. So a big congratulations to them. They've done an absolutely superb job. And this is the 14th national championship in wrestling that North Idaho has won over its 79th year history. So congratulations to them. So let's turn to Karen Ruppel and talk a little bit about accreditation. But first of all, Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of how long you've been here, what you're a faculty member for, and a little bit about your background.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I've been at North Idaho College for 13 years, and I am a faculty member in the Professional Technical Division. I'm actually housed in the Trades and Industry Division. Prior to my current role, I taught occupational relations. Those are job search, work preparatory classes for all of the professional technical students. And I've been in the current role doing student learning outcomes assessment, campus-wide, and accreditation for about 5 years now.
Okay. And we have an accreditation visit coming up in March, which is huge. And so tell us a little bit about the importance of accreditation and why institutions go through that process, and a little bit about what that process includes.
Okay. We are accredited by the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities, and North Idaho College has been accredited since 1950. We have to reaffirm our accreditation under this process approximately now under current new standards every 7 years, a full evaluation, but we also have interim evaluations. And what it means to be accredited, essentially, and we get asked that question a lot, why are you accredited or what does it do for you? It basically provides a set of standards. We're required to meet these standards, and so it ensures quality and consistency in our educational programming. Because they had to figure out a way to implement and get all of the schools on board. It ensures quality and consistency in the services that we provide. It provides students with transferability of credits to other institutions. And it also, because of the United States Department of Education requirements, allows us to grant federal financial aid. So basically, USDOE provides some standards to the accrediting bodies, and the accrediting bodies ensure that we're meeting those, and then we're able to grant financial aid. So it's really about quality assurance and consistency in our programming.
Now, the first step in the accreditation process is putting together a self-study. Tell us a little bit about what a self-study is, how time-consuming it is to put together, and the person's work that you've done on this self-study for North Idaho College.
Sure. I'll go back a little bit on history, and I'll make it really brief, but we used to do a full self-study every 10 years, and we would have an interim visit at a 5-year point. And recently, accreditation has been kind of at the center of national attention, and primarily because of accountability and a push for more accountability from higher education. And in that, the Northwest Commission decided to change their accreditation cycle to a 7-year cycle. And we actually report in year 1, year 3, and year 7. And we're visited in year 7 for a full evaluation, but we're also visited as, as an interim at the 3-year point. So we're in year 7, but we've had to complete this in 3 years because they had to figure out a way to implement and get all of the schools on board. So it takes approximately a year to a year and a half to perform a self-study. And basically we visit with everybody on campus, all programs, all services, and we look at the set of standards and we align and ensure and produce evidence that says that we're doing what we say we're doing. Once we write this rather large report, 300 and something page report, it's sent out.
That's huge.
It is big. It's sent out to an evaluation team and it's sent to the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities. The evaluation team are peer evaluators. These are people that have trained and are selected from other colleges and universities, and they come in then and visit us. They get the report for about 2 months in advance. They review it. They come up with a set of questions, the people that they want to visit, the committees, different people on campus, and then they come in for 3 days and spend 3 days on campus and essentially go through and check and ensure that we're meeting these standards and just dig in, make sure that we have the evidence and that we're doing what we say we're doing.
So the accreditation is the last part of March, and approximately how many folks will be a part of that team?
We have a big evaluation team. The new standards have changed how they put together the evaluation teams. We were required to identify core themes, and those core themes have to be part of our mission. And we have 3 core themes: student success, educational excellence, and community engagement. And so they assign an evaluator to each of those core themes. They assign evaluators for Standard 2, which is resources and capacity. And so we actually have 7 evaluators and 1 representative from the Northwest Commission coming in. So there'll be 8 people here on campus for 3 days.
Well, what a process.
Yes.
And you've done an absolutely superb job on that, Karen, so thank you.
Thank you.
I think folks would be amazed at just how much time it takes leading up to this. Hundreds of hours does not even begin to describe it. But Karen, one of the questions I get in the community when we're just talking about higher education in general, and I'll hear, well, why is regional accreditation so much more difficult to get versus national accreditation? Logic would tell me that it would be just the opposite. So how does that work in on a larger screen, a larger scene? Why is regional accreditation so much tougher?
Well, that's actually kind of a difficult question to answer because there are so many types of accreditation. So the difficulty is I guess regional accreditation under the 6th recognized body by the United States Department of Education. That's difficult. Those are stringent guidelines that are come from the federal level, and they basically are fairly consistent across the United States, even though they vary a little bit from region to region. Also, the self-evaluation process, the fact that you evaluate and then peer evaluators come in, they're looking for, commonalities in the students that they would expect to transfer to 4-year institutions.
Right.
And so they want that consistency and stringency to ensure that they're getting the student that they want once they transfer to a 4-year institution. We have programmatic accreditation also that exists, like for nursing programs, et cetera, and North Idaho College does have some programmatic accreditation. Those are also very stringent guidelines. But the difference is that we also have a lot of accrediting bodies out there, or accreditation methods, that are continuing education units and things like that that don't contain the same rigor that you find in a regional accrediting body.
And really the bottom line is that so many of our students go on, whether it's to Lewis Clark State College or the U of I or another institution somewhere, trying to guarantee as much of that transferability helps with that accreditation when it's all under the same umbrella then.
Yes, keeping our programming consistent and transferable, and also ensuring the rigor and the quality in the programming.
Yeah. So Karen, once the accreditation visit is complete, what types of recommendations can emerge from that?
Those can vary, and those usually often will stem from self-identified weaknesses. So as we self-study, we realize, and we're looking at these standards, that there are things that we probably could be doing better. And we identify strengths, we identify weaknesses. The accrediting body comes in and will say, we really feel that you should be doing more of this or doing this better. Often, very common recommendations would have to do with student learning outcomes assessment. We all know it's very difficult to track, it's very difficult to produce data. Student learning outcomes assessment is a challenge, and for all institutions, and we often receive recommendations related to that. Sometimes you'll receive a recommendation just because maybe you've missed something. We had a financial recommendation once that was very brief, very small, and it was very easy to fix. So it's just something that you have to change in a process or whatever. And sometimes we get recommendations, could be on a planning issue, a budgeting issue, but usually fairly minor. North Idaho College has had very successful self-studies.
Yeah. Knock on wood, we'll be there
Knock
again.
on wood.
You know, one of the things that we do every month here on NIC Today is bring you an offering from our students in the graphic arts program, and this month's offering is fairly special. We have students who are actually working on producing a movie, and as we all know, as part of movies, you get the trailer to understand a little bit of what the movie is about. So here's this month's offering from the graphic arts students.
Hello.
What you got there?
Who owns the peace sign anymore? I don't know, I found it in this book. That's weird. That's a mine in the background. Do you know anything about the girl?
With your adventure.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Well, it certainly piqued our interest here. We'll be looking for that this coming spring as an offering from the students in the graphic arts program. Joe?
Well, welcome back, everyone. Today we're here with Kassie Silvas, who is the Director of Aerospace and our outreach program. So, Kassie, you really have two responsibilities. One is the Department of Labor Aerospace grant, implementation of that, and the other is responsibility, I should say, for our outreach centers. Before I ask you to comment on that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll ask you about those two different areas of responsibility.
All right, thank you, Joe. Well, I live here in Coeur d'Alene. I'm pretty active in the community, being a 4-H leader and a football mom, but I recently came over the second week of January from Spokane Community College, where I was a Dean of Instruction over there, and I'm really happy to be aboard.
Well, we're very glad to have you here as well. So tell us about the aerospace grant, what that means to the community, the aerospace industry here in Idaho, and what you're doing to implement that grant.
Okay, thank you. Well, the North Idaho College was the only college in the state of Idaho to receive a Department of Labor Trades Adjustment Act grant, and for $2.97 million. And its intention is to respond to the aerospace technology needs of our community up here. We identified over 30 industrial partners up in our area who wrote wonderful letters of support indicating that they'd like to grow their business and they're in need of a skilled workforce. So the grant's designed around aerospace manufacturing and an aviation maintenance program, which we will get certified under Part 147 of the FAA. The impact, what the Department of Labor came out and said is we're looking at producing over 500 jobs by 2015 and an economic base of $28 million in just jobs alone. And the interesting part that a lot of people don't realize is it's got what they call a 1.54 factor on it, which is for every person we put to work has got a benefit of a 0.54 where it affects somebody else. So stimulating our economy up here, especially after the loss of so many mill and construction jobs, and looking to our industrial partners who would like to advance in the aerospace industry, providing them with a skilled workforce is a really important role for the college right now.
And I think the grant includes 4 different programs of different lengths. I mean, there's a composite program that responds to carbon fiber type production. There's advanced manufacturing that includes computer numeric controlled manufacturing systems. There's non-destructive testing, and then there is the airframe assembly or the airframe program as well. Now, when do you think some of those programs will be up and running?
Good question. Well, we're working on the curriculum right now. I had the opportunity to go visit Wichita Area Technical College, which is our nation's hub right now for national research around this. So we're looking at stacking 4 manufacturing credentials that you spoke of, as well as having a 1-year program in the airframe. As the curriculum's getting put together, and I work with Karen here to apply to the Northwest Commission, we're looking for an address. So we're in the process of procuring a site to hold our programs and looking to hire qualified individuals. We're putting an advisory board together. We're working with marketing. I think if all comes together in a timely fashion, we should be looking at offering the 4 credit courses August of 13 this year.
Okay. And your other responsibility includes our outreach centers, and we have 3 outreach centers. And so could you describe a little bit about those responsibilities?
That's the fun part. Our outreach centers lie in Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, and the Silver Valley, Kellogg area. And my responsibility involves growing and closing some gaps in these areas and responding to the community needs. So I've had the opportunity to go around already and meet with these centers more than once, bring them down here and identify some loopholes they're having in instruction, meet with some community partners and talk about their vision for their centers and see where NIC can't reach out and help one another achieve those goals. There's kind of a side part too. There's outreach areas that I'm involved in developing with the tribe. So I've gone down and met with the chief and Dave Matheson and Dr. Chris Meyer, and we're talking about developing hospitality management certificates. They're a major employer in our area, and they would love to have NIC more involved. So outreach to me means exactly what it is, reaching out to all these community partners we have, our employers, and where all our students are coming from, and seeing if we can't ease the burden and give them more access to our degrees and programs.
Now, Kassie, when you were at Spokane Community College, you were responsible for business and hospitality programs there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I was able to work with Northern Quest and create a quite extensive package of hospitality management certificates and programs for them. So I really enjoyed that. And then did the entrepreneurship program over there. That was that was very enjoyable.
Well,
as
why don't you mention a little bit about that, because North Idaho College is putting in place a replica of that program underwritten by the Avista Corporation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the entrepreneurship program?
Okay. Well, when we were over there, we reached out to Avista and said, we have a wonderful model, and what we're lacking are partners, college partners, where we can network and start growing an integrated entrepreneurship program. Integrated where it's not taught in a theory fashion, but it's taught with several instructors delivering the content that's necessary for each individual student to build their own business plan and implement their business upon graduation. Now, the whole idea is to have that in hand. So in speaking with Avista, they went back to the drawing board to their corporate level management and took some of our ideas of pulling in other colleges. We said they'd need seed money and they would need a microfund loan for these students to start businesses. You can't, when you get out of college, I mean, $5,000 might as well be $1 million to them. So we were very pleased. They came back with a $1 million package. They had $500,000 set aside for loans to students who finished the program. And we sat at the table and identified North Idaho College as one of the recipients of $100,000 of seed money to get this program up and going. So we were really excited to partner, and I'm more excited to be over on this side and serve my own community with that program as well now. So
how key is it, Kassie, to have that business partnership? I mean, you're talking about the entrepreneurship program with Avista, which is an amazing program, but I'm thinking about the aerospace and that cluster of really some small but really rapidly growing industries here in North Idaho. How key is that for a student's success to give them those skills?
Well, it's the backbone to any program, because when the industry partners come together, they identify those successful skills that they'd like us to teach and that they'll hire with. So if we put a student through a program and they don't have that, their opportunity to get a job diminishes, versus the other way around. When we bring all those major employers to the table, they help design curriculum and give their advice on what the latest trends are, then they're more apt to give that student the leg up when they walk through the door.
It really helps us with that community connection as well, which gets us back to accreditation with community engagement that we're working with and listening to the industries, and we're helping them to understand what it takes on our end as well. So it all kind of comes full circle, doesn't it, President?
Well, it does. Together. And you know, one of the key missions for a community college is workforce development and economic development. And if you look at the contribution of North Idaho College, we contribute about $164 million a year to the economic viability of this region. And then by supporting business and industry, there's a compound effect. And so you're absolutely right. I mean, workforce development and economic development equates to the vitality of our region.
And I think it's an interesting combination when you get folks from the college campus, and we're working, you know, we have a number of advisory boards, but when you were establishing some of these programs from the ground up, we're able to really get folks in that really feel vested from the industry side. And I think that's what you're saying, Kassie, is that these businesses now see the value in having a homegrown workforce. That really has to be an advantage, I would think, in keeping them here long term. Well,
and it has another arm, which is it's attracting more businesses to our region. I've met with a couple businesses that are moving out of California due to the work environment and the opportunity to be able to pay a living wage to their employees, and what they're looking for up here is a trained workforce. So we're attracting more businesses to our region by having this workforce ready to go.
And that, you know, Steve Griffiths at Jobs Plus, that's what he does. You know, when you ask Steve, what do you do? He said, I steal businesses. I go to 49 other states and other countries, and I steal businesses and bring them to North Idaho, and we're thrilled to try to help every bit we can with that little project.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Karen, I know how hard you've worked on this accreditation piece in terms of coordinating the visit, developing the self-study, and preparing the campus for that site visit. So my question is, what are you going to do at the end of March to relax?
I'm going to start the year one report that's due next March. So we basically have to look at whatever they tell us and the recommendations, and we have to start over. So it's due the beginning of March, and that'll be the framework for the next 7 years.
And so you just go from one project to the next.
That's right.
Without a break.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And student learning outcomes assessment. We can't forget about that part of my job. So it's a large piece of the accreditation, the student learning outcomes assessment. And 50% of my position is coordinating assessment for general education across campus. So.
You know, Karen, and President mentioned it, I don't think anybody really, with the exception of your husband, probably has a real appreciation for just how much time and effort and stress this has put under your work over the last year and a half. But on behalf of the folks that we've had a little bit of an opportunity to work on just a very small part of this project, I just want to say thank you. It's incredibly,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a huge job, and it's just, I think we're well prepared. You know, North Idaho College is well prepared for the accreditation visit. We're doing good things, and we're hopeful that the reviewers see that as well.
Well, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Karen, Kassie, Mark, it's a pleasure to sit down and have a conversation with you. And thank you for joining us as well. Don't forget to tune in on Channel 19 in the future for new programs that give you insight to North Idaho College and what makes it happen.